What if I were to tell you that not all S chassis are clapped out shit boxes that drift? Well, this one's not a drift car, and it's not quite clapped out. This also has a honking V8 in it. But you can tell by the big wing, this means business. So we're gonna find out what a grip-prone S chassis feels like. You're watching the Italian Tune-Up Pro Show. Don't have my microphone. That is the one thing I do remember. And then, I think I got this. It's an I think. It's just a car, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. So, this is Matt's LSX 240SX, the 5.3 in here. We're gonna do a version 1 of this because he's actually going to be taking it apart. What do you plan to do?
Yeah, it's getting basically like a full rebuild. I've got a built 5.7 LS1. This is an L33 aluminum block 5.3 right now.
Still good.
Still keeping the CAMARO T56, doing a couple of upgrades while I'm in there. It's gonna get a cage. It's getting painted. This month, hopefully. I'm waiting on my wide body parts,
yes.
But I'm also going to be changing the wheels. 10.5s, right now they're 9.5s square. And then, yeah, I've got aero stuff. Anyways, it's going to be very different. So
yes.
It's going to be cool to see this like in its current form.
Yes.
This is how it's been for the last 5 years.
Right. So this is on our. It's going to be on the tier list as version 1, and then we're going to do tier list for version 2 whenever that's done. So pretty excited about that. Here we go. So I met Matt at a brewery randomly. He was wearing a cool car shirt, and we actually saw each other at Radwood, the very first Radwood in Austin, Texas. And Radwood was awesome. I actually got to see his car whenever he had a faux body. We'll have to put a picture of it here. But basically he had a Mustang 5.0 front end. Fox body, sorry, the Fox body front end on an S13 Coupe with the LSX motor in here. So it's just like, it confused a lot of people, and it was basically a meme. Like, the car is a meme. Again, y'all will see that. And this car is about 90% of my dream car, one of my dream cars. And I say 90 because I say 90, sorry. This is gonna be genuine happiness, by the way. I say about 90% because, ooh, I gotta get that. That'll be good. Hold on. I won't heel toe.
Engine braking's pretty heavy.
Anyways, I just wanted to experience a little bit of that. I'm sure everything's rattling around on the camera, but basically this is 90% of my dream car, and I'm gonna give Matt some flack and he'll give me flack back, but it's not a hatch, so it's about 90% of the way there.
It's okay to be wrong, you can be wrong. I was wondering what the 10% was.
So basically this guy, oh my God, like, it's not here to drift, it's actually here to grip. Like, I'm not ripping through the corners as I should because I don't know the car's capabilities. I'm gonna respect the beast because this is a fucking beast. But otherwise, the turn-in is incredible. Let's get the handling out of the way because that seems to be kind of a issue, not as much an issue, but for track guys like Matt, these cars are known for drift cars, so it's an anomaly to have this car as a grip car, a grip focused car. Oh shit! This is, oh God, Matt. Every time I drive this car, you just bring me such happiness and such joy. Handling is fucking great. That's all I gotta say. Like, this car is getting dialed in. I'm gonna list a bunch of mods that's done to this car, and he's got a huge, extensive list. I mean, he's had the car for 5 years, and man, it's got a lot in handling. The turn-in is fantastic. I will say something, the power steering is extremely light. It's interesting to see that, really. The power steering is, the feedback is very, very subtle, very, how do I say, soft. It's not in a bad way, but it's not like a power steeringless wonder where it's gonna beat the shit out of you. God, this car is just stupid. It's stupid.
Would you like less steering assist?
Is there a way to adjust that?
Yes. Here, hold on.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Less steering assist now. We'll see. You gotta drive it then.
I already feel it at a stop. You gotta go.
Still good?
Yes.
Okay.
I am like gonna, like, oh God. Oh my God, coming around the sweeper here. Oh, the brakes are fantastic.
Yes, you gotta stay on the gas.
You gotta stay on the gas.
Never lift.
Listen, never lift. You're right. Listen, this is my first time actually driving his. I love this car. Fuck. This is my first time actually driving this car, like, to some extent. And let me tell you, it's not a handful by any means. Yes. God damn. Jesus Christ. This thing is insane. Oh my God. I can't even talk about this car, Matt. I can't even talk about it, man. Just a this is my life. Oh shit. Do you mind if I hit the turnarounds over here?
Go ahead.
Oh my God. I am so discombobulated. So, handling's fantastic. This is a T56, correct?
Yeah.
Real notchy,
It's
real
really
tight.
chunky.
Just, it's a chunky. But did I just stall? I did. I stalled it. Y'all heard it here first. Oh shit! God damn it! God damn it! Damn it, man! This is incredible. I need this in my life. I need one of these in my life. God. And by one of these, I mean an S chassis with the LS, because this is one of my dream cars, and I have to have this. I need to find one that's not as clapped out, but it's really expensive. The brakes are fantastic. Going back to the brakes, they bite really hard. I'm pretty sure I'm not using all of them at all.
I actually put my street pads on these.
You put your street pads on?
So they're not even the carbon tax. The carbon tax are magnificent.
They're incredible.
Yeah.
Ah, man. Power steering did go off on me,
Oh.
but that's okay. That's good. We're fine.
Because the car's still.
We said, wait a second. Okay, now you can go.
Alright, it should turn back on.
I think we're good.
Is it back on?
Yeah, we're good. Jesus.
When it stalls,
This thing's a trouble car. This is a trouble. How do you not get in trouble in this car?
it's just a stock truck motor, man.
It's a stock truck motor. I don't know. Fuck. Brakes are phenomenal. Handling's phenomenal. Power is fucking phenomenal. This car is phenomenal. It's an instant S-Class car. This is an instant S-Class car.
Oh,
I'm fucking gonna put this in S-Class. I can't wait to see what happens whenever you actually do the 5.7 in here and some other revisions, like
100 extra horsepower, an inch more wheel in every corner.
100 extra horsepower,
100 extra
an
wheels.
inch more in the wheels, and more aero.
And wider tires. I'm doing 315s.
315s on this boy. Woo! She's gonna be good. Oh, she's such a good girl. This is best girl. So far, Matt, this is best girl, man.
I like it.
Dude,
I like it a lot.
thank you so much for letting me do, like, seriously, like, thank you so much. I know you're over there just like, he'll get it.
Well, so, little backstory. When I was in college, my roommate had a 1973 240Z with a Gen 1 small block Chevy in it. And I wasn't really into cars at the time, but he took me in a ride on this car, and I was like, I have to have a V8 Nissan. I've got to build one someday.
It's,
and, you know, 15 years later,
this is it, man. And you've had this car for 5 years? Or more?
I bought it in the beginning of 2015, and I swapped it in December of 2015. So its 5-year anniversary of being an LS1 swap was a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, mad props for hanging in there on this thing.
I love it, man. I usually run through projects pretty quickly, but this is the one that it's like, it ticks all the boxes, it's doing what I want it to do in terms of handling and power, and it just feels good.
Dude,
You know?
it's incredible, man. Like, this car is just, oh God, my adrenaline is like, it's actually not that high, but in terms of like the fun, like feeling of just euphoria, that's what I don't have adrenaline going. This car induced euphoria. Like,
Just wants to be driven.
it just beckons you to drive the shit out of it, man. Yeah, so now that I could actually think, engine, what can you say about a old pushrod aluminum V8, man? I mean, they're wonders. I mean, technological wonders. We've had them for what, like four decades more, and we're still using them. LT1s, yeah, coming on 7 decades.
Yeah, they were made in the 50s, right?
Holy shit, I think you're right.
Yeah.
And there is no, to me, my opinion, there is no better pairing than a Japanese chassis with a American V8. There is no better pairing that comes to mind. This car gives a lot of other cars fits on the track. One thing I will tell you is I was expecting this car to, hold on real quick, let me actually remove for the squiggles. So I was actually expecting this car to handle not as good as it does. And this is a big surprise because I was expecting some sort of Corvette type of handling. Oh shit, and we're back. Camera fell, sorry. Overall, I mean, there is a lot more feedback in this car than you could imagine. And you're not sitting there like sweating. Like, I was not sweating any moment, even like in that drift. I know that we were, you know, sitting there sideways, but I pushed out a little bit and let off the throttle. It is what it is. But this car is extremely controllable, it's extremely predictable, and it's not gonna kick your ass. So I can see why drifters like it, but as far as a track car, phenomenal. Just, wow. Bellissimo. This car is incredible, man. I can't wait to talk about it. Let's go to the tier list. Let's do it, man. I wanted to kick the tier list off with my first ever haiku about one of these amazing machines that I've gotten a chance to drive. And it goes a little something like this. Power Japan shell, American monster heart, engorged manhood. That sums it up right there. Okay, to recap Matt's car, it's an S13 that weighs around 2750 even with the L33. The L33 is putting around 325 real horsepower as far as his guesstimation goes. Power is not super overwhelming. Again, this is gonna be version 1 of version 2, so his car is gonna get a whole lot of work done to it, and I'm like really excited for it. It's gonna be a completely different beast within the next, hopefully, year. So that's gonna go into wraps. Cosmetically, it's gonna go through a full refresh of the paint, a body kit, wide body kit, 50mm big booty setup on that car. So it's gonna be incredible. He's gonna put 315s on there as a square setup and deliver around, he guesstimates, another 100 more horsepower. So kind of going to the engine and drivetrain. The engine pulls extremely well. It's pretty consistent. It's not overwhelming because the tires actually grip pretty well with that setup. So going on to the transmission, that T56 is extremely notchy. It's got like a little small gate. If you noticed, I was struggling a little bit with the transmission and getting it, especially from second to third, like you just have to really like manhandle it in there. Otherwise, whenever you see me progress throughout the video, I start getting more comfortable with it. Heel toe downshifting was a little tricky towards the end there. I know I said that I wasn't going to heel toe downshift whenever we were driving it, but I was, if you notice, I was doing it later on. So you get really used to this car very quickly. Again, this was like the first time I've ever actually gotten to really drive his car. I drove his car prior on Harris Hill Raceway one time, but it was just during a parade lap and we were stuck behind slow traffic and I couldn't really get a good feel for it. So regardless, the engine and transmission, super stout. The rear end hooks up, super stout. Going on to the handling and the chassis, this is where this car really shines because, again, usually 240SX owners here turn their cars into drift shit boxes. This car is definitely not a shit box and it's also not a drift car. However, I think that with this setup that he has, it can do anything. It can do drift, gymkhana, grip, rally maybe even. I actually think he has rallied it one time before, I don't know. But overall, the handling of the car itself, the turn-in was super spot on. I know I was kind of complaining about how the steering was just a little lighter than I wanted it to be, but it actually turned out he can adjust it to where it can be no power steering at all or out of like 3 different settings. So that like blew my mind. Steering was pretty badass. And as far as the communication with the whole entire setup of the chassis, you can feel everything at all times. Like this car was not an intimidating car to drive. Again, once I got used to it, I didn't push it as hard as I would on like a track, but however, you can get a sense that this car is not gonna like absolutely beat you up or make you pay for making a mistake. It was very forgiving. In fact, Matt's doggy baby mama, Jess, she actually drives this car at autocrosses. So Matt will actually drive one of his buddies' LS swap 240Zs at autocross, which is insane. And then she'll actually go on and drive his 240 LSX. And I've only seen her spin out once, but that just goes to show you that she's really pushing it out there. And it's really incredible to see that, you know, anyone could pretty much get in this car, give them some seat time, and they'll actually get a handle on it. So the handling, suspension setup, everything was just fantastic on there. I have no qualms with the turn in, mid corner or exit. Everything was on point. It was almost near telepathic, which was incredible. And this car doesn't feel very heavy. I mean, it's 2750, which is by today's standards a really light car, but to my standards of, you know, Miata and everything, it felt very close to the Miata in terms of the actual handling of it and the way you can kind of throw it into a corner. And that's pretty good considering that the wheelbase is quite a few inches longer than my wheelbase. So very planted, very communicative, very fun handling. It's just all around a great handling setup that he's got there. So it's really cool to see one of these cars as a grip setup. Going into the brakes, apparently he had his street brake pads on there, but I didn't notice because those pads, that pedal feel, everything was just, I think he's got the Q45 brake setup on there. I don't know for sure. I have to go through the mods list, but regardless, the brakes were, I didn't have to dive into them like super crazy. I did see him lock up a few times as we were cruising to another spot to go film the burnout, which you'll see at the end of this video. And it definitely stops. Like that thing will stop on a dime. I can't imagine what his brakes are like with his race brakes installed on there, because that thing was stopping pretty hardcore. The tendencies of the car, again, kind of going back and clearing everything up. Everything was super communicative. Whenever I was on throttle, just kind of ripping out of the hole. There was no like wheel spin. That wing on the back does a pretty good job of keeping everything planted. It's just an overall fantastic planted car. You can definitely get used to this car on track, and you could totally like know exactly what it's doing at all times. And it's just one of those cars that's just like a really magical experience to drive. So I had a lot of fun with this car. In fact, it's been about 3 days now since I've had time to digest driving this car. And the first night, whenever I drove the car, I literally couldn't sleep because all I was doing was thinking about that car and how fantastic it is. I want to actually get behind the wheel again and like give it some good reps. And what's really cool is Matt has offered a few times like, hey man, if you ever want to drive my car on autocross, do it. I'll give you the keys, like let's do it. So I might actually take him up on that offer. overall, the car, I don't have to really talk much more about it. It's just an S tier car. It's going right into S tier. I don't know what version 2 is gonna do for it. It might even put it in God tier, or maybe even kind of break it in there. I don't know. I'm not sure. So until then, like we'll see what happens with that car. It's gonna be incredible. I'm sure that some of y'all that are stumbling upon this video will probably hopefully stick around to see what this thing becomes, because I can't wait to cover it again. I just want to go drive it again. Like, this car, as I said, literally induced euphoria, not an adrenaline rush. It induced like a state of euphoria for me, which is really awesome. This driving experience was really a good meditation, I guess, if you wanted to say something. So I just want to thank Matt for letting me rip around in his S chassis, and I had just an absolute blast in this car. I will say something, and this is kind of a big statement right now. I have driven quite a few cars. This is probably my favorite car I have ever driven. Again, going back, this car set up an S chassis, specifically a hatch, not a coupe, sorry Matt, with an LSX motor in there set up for grip. That's what I want. Like, that's one of the many cars that I want, and it's just incredible. Anyways, I can't thank Matt enough. Thank you for watching. If you like this, I'm gonna be putting out more content more consistently. I'm really excited to share my passion with y'all. I just love driving. So if you would, please subscribe, like, comment. I mean, the more that I put out, I'm sure the more it'll catch on. But I just like getting around with other like-minded car enthusiasts and driving enthusiasts. Overall, this is definitely peak of where I'm going so far. So it's gonna be pretty hard to top this. And on to the burnout.